Daddy's Brave Little Fisherman, a story of adventure, courage, and a father's love stories by Anna. Daddy's brave little fisherman down by a winding river, where the water sparkled like 1,000 tiny diamonds, there stood a small wooden house tucked between the mango trees. Inside that cozy little house lived a fisherman named George, his kind and loving wife Miriam, and their son, a curious, bright-eyed boy named Sylvan. Sylvan loved the river more than just about anything. Every single day after school, he would kick off his shoes, run down the grassy slope, and plop himself on his favorite big rock right at the water's edge. He would dangle his bare feet in the cool, flowing water and dream. Oh, how he would dream. He pictured himself standing tall in his daddy's boat, pulling up the biggest fish anyone had ever seen. He imagined his mother's eyes growing wide with surprise as he walked through the door carrying a whole bucket of fish for dinner. "My son, the fisherman," she would say. Just the thought of it made Sylvan grin from ear to ear. One bright morning, as George held Sylvan's hand and walked him along the dusty path to school, Sylvan looked up with the biggest, most hopeful eyes you ever did see. "Daddy," he said softly, "can I come fishing with you? Can I? Please?" George looked down at his son and smiled gently, but his answer was not the one Sylvan wanted to hear. "Maybe one day, Sylvan. Not just yet. The river has been roaring something fierce these days. It's too rough for little ones right now." Sylvan's face fell. His shoulders drooped. He dragged his feet the rest of the way to school, kicking at little pebbles along the path, his mind swirling with fish and waves and wishes. But here's the thing about Sylvan. He was not the kind of boy who gave up, not even a little bit. The very next morning, he asked again, and the morning after that, and the one after that, too. "Please, Daddy, take me with you. I want to see the fish. I want to help you. Take me, Daddy, please," he asked at breakfast. He asked on the walk to school. He asked at bedtime, with his covers pulled up to his chin and his big brown eyes blinking in the lamplight. Every single day, the same question. Finally, George knelt down so he was eye to eye with his son. He placed both hands on Sylvan's shoulders and smiled a warm, proud smile. "All right, sonny. You win. I'll take you fishing on Saturday." Sylvan's eyes popped open so wide you'd think they might roll right out of his head. That afternoon, the very second, Sylvan got home from school, he burst through the front door like a little hurricane and hollered at the top of his lungs, "Mother! Mother! Daddy says I can go fishing with him on Saturday. Whoopee!" He spun around the kitchen with his arms stretched out wide like an airplane. He nearly knocked over a chair. He bumped into the table. He did not care one bit. "I'm going to see the catfish and all the other fishes swimming in the water, Mother. And guess what? I'm the one bringing home dinner this time." Miriam laughed her big, beautiful laugh and scooped him into a warm hug. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. I just know you're going to have the best time." Now, if you think Sylvan was excited before dinner, you should have seen him during dinner. He couldn't sit still for even 1 minute. He stood right up on his chair, grabbed his fork, waved it in the air like a fishing rod, and started dancing. "Hello there, Mr. Fish. I'm coming to get you on Saturday. Oh, yeah, with my daddy." George and Miriam laughed so hard that tears ran down their cheeks. They could see the joy pouring out of every little inch of that boy. From that moment on, Sylvan talked about fishing morning, noon, and night. He stood by the river every afternoon, smiling at the water, wiggling his toes in the current, and imagining all the wonderful fish he'd catch. He even pictured his mother seasoning them with garlic and herbs, laying them in the hot frying pan. Sizzle, 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 until they were golden brown and crispy. And then, at last, after what felt like the longest week in the history of the whole wide world, Saturday morning arrived. Sylvan was the very first one awake. The sun had barely peeked through the curtains. The rooster hadn't even crowed yet, and there was Sylvan, already out of bed, already dressed, already bouncing on his toes. He tiptoed to his parents' room, pushed open the door, and leaped right into the middle of their bed. "Daddy, let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!" George laughed, rubbed his sleepy eyes, and ruffled Sylvan's hair. All right, little man. Let's have some breakfast first." After a warm breakfast of eggs and toast, the two of them, strapped on their life jackets, walked down to the water's edge and climbed into George's little red boat. It was a sturdy, trusty vessel, and George had given it a proud name, Arrow. With a push and a gentle splash, Arrow glided out onto the river, and their adventure began. The morning was beautiful. Birds sang in the treetops. Dragonflies zipped above the water. The breeze carried the sweet smell of flowers from the riverbank. Sylvan could not stop standing up and pointing at everything he saw. "Daddy, look. I see 2 fish right over there. And look, big crayfish. Oh, let's catch those. We can make crayfish soup for dinner." George grinned. "All right, son. Come here. Let me show you how it's done." He gently guided Sylvan's small hands and showed him how to hold steady, how to be patient, and how to wait for just the right moment. Sylvan listened carefully and watched his father's every move. He was learning. He was becoming a real fisherman. But then, as they drifted further downriver, something changed. The sky turned dark. Thick, gray clouds rolled in fast, swallowing up the sunshine. The wind picked up. And then the rain came, softly at first, like tiny fingers tapping on the water, but soon it was pouring down hard, drumming against the boat and splashing everywhere. George quickly pulled out their raincoats. "Put this on, Sylvan. Stay low and hold on tight." The river churned and growled. Big angry waves rocked little Arrow from side to side, tossing it around like a toy in a bathtub. Sylvan's heart was pounding. He gripped the side of the boat with both hands. He was scared. He wanted to be closer to his daddy. He let go and tried to crawl toward his father, but just then a massive wave slammed into the boat. Sylvan went flying. The water swallowed him up. He was in the river, tumbling, splashing, gasping, "Daddy, help me, help me!" George moved faster than he had ever moved in his life. He grabbed the lifesaver buoy and hurled it through the rain toward his son's small, bobbing head. Sylvan's little hands reached out through the swirling water, reaching, and grabbed hold of the buoy with everything he had. George pulled the rope, steady and strong, hand over hand, until Sylvan was right alongside the boat. Then he reached down with his big, strong arms, lifted his boy out of the water, and held him close. He wrapped Sylvan in a warm, dry blanket, tucked him safely under an umbrella, and whispered, "I've got you, son. You're safe now. Daddy's got you." With the rain still hammering down and the waves still crashing, George turned brave little Arrow around and steered them home through the storm. It wasn't easy. The wind pushed and the water pulled, but George was strong, and he was determined, and nothing in the world was going to stop him from getting his boy home safe. When the boat finally touched the riverbank, Sylvan jumped out, ran up the slope, and burst through the front door straight into his mother's arms. Mother, you won't believe what happened." He told her everything. The beautiful morning, the fish, the crayfish, the dark clouds, the crashing waves, the moment he fell into the water, and how his daddy saved him. Then he turned around, ran to his father, and hugged him tighter than he had ever hugged anyone in his entire life. "Daddy, you saved me. Thank you so much." He looked up, his eyes shining with tears of love and gratitude, and spoke from the very deepest part of his heart. "You are the best daddy in the whole wide world. You are my hero, my super fisherman. I love you." George knelt down and wrapped his arms around his brave little fisherman. "I love you too, Sylvan, more than all the fish in the river." And Miriam stood in the doorway, smiling with her whole heart, watching her 2 fishermen hold each other close, soaking wet, a little tired, but safe, together, and filled up with the kind of love that no storm could ever wash away. The end. Dedication to all you fantastic, wonderful children in the marvelous realm of Reader's Land. And yes, my dear friend, that means you, the one reading this book at this very moment. Acknowledgements, I acknowledge you, my reader. Thanks for watching Stories by Anna. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories, hidden truths, and unforgettable moments.